Welcome to another Chelsea chat. The most drawn fixture in Premier League history was in fact again a draw. Looking at social media this morning, Potter is either the second coming of Christ for bringing Kovacic on to a midfield that was getting overrun, or a total plonker. Don't think he's either, to be honest, but I think somewhere in the middle for me, and I don't think it'll be till next season that we see Potter's ball, if you like, the football that he wants to play. It took its time at Brighton, and it's going to take its time here. I do blame him a little bit for yesterday, but we'll go into that in a little bit more depth later. The other thing that I keep seeing on Twitter this morning is Kepa being blamed for the goal. Many of those, and I've even looked back on their Twitter accounts, many of those who had him up there with Gordon Banks after 5 decent games, after the last game, have got him down as the worst keeper in the world, and they want Mendy back in goal. No shock there to see. As you know, I describe him as the cabbages, but I think I leave myself open to being sued by cabbages everywhere, who think I'm being disrespectful to them. But yeah, again, would Mendy have saved that? I don't know. Would he have had a better chance of saving it? Well, he's taller. But then again, we let in almost identical goal. I think it was against Brighton. And he didn't save it. Kepa's in goal. Kepa yesterday, before that incident that he got his hand to, he'd saved us 3 or 4 times. Particularly once when Rashford was through. Good save. Stood tall. And I don't think you can attribute any blame to Kepa. I think it's just the social network world that we will live in. People need someone to blame. People need to say something for clicks, and people don't even think before they open their mouths, I don't think. Yesterday I was disappointed when the team sheet came through. Do you know one thing that annoys me? People always say hindsight's a great thing, but I watched, when we're playing a side, because I do these little vlogs, I tend to have a little look at what the opponents are doing before we play them. And I looked at a couple of United's last games, and what they did, they packed the midfield. The way Ten Hag used to do, really, when he was at Ajax, when I think back, when we played them. So yesterday, when the team sheet come through, we were playing basically a 3-4-3. And so that left us 2 in the middle of midfield against United's 3. I thought to myself, this don't see it. And one of them was Jorginho. Now, no disrespect to Jorginho, but he's not a high pressure defensive midfielder. Even those of you who think I'm unfair on Jorginho must surely agree with that. So basically, we were playing Ruben Loftus-Cheek in midfield on his own against Manchester United. And I thought, this is a recipe for disaster. Now, I just watched a couple of the highlight reels from the United games. Graham Potter and his coaching staff have got all week to watch their previous games. And I'd love to sit down with Graham Potter now, in hindsight, after the game, and say, what made you think that we could compete in midfield with a setup that you set up yesterday? Because I just couldn't see it. Now, he's got a big football brain. I've got a little small one. Yeah, I've been on some coaching courses, but that doesn't mean to say I've got a tenth of the football IQ that Potter has. But I still can't see it. So this magic that he performed when he brought Kovacic on, I thought was a mistake in the first place that he was rectifying. So let's go through this. The team was Kepa in goal. The back three were Chalobah, Silva and Cucurella. Midfield, well, right wing back basically, we had Aspie, because obviously Reece James is out injured. Aspie getting stick this morning. I thought Aspie had a good game. He's not Reece James. I wish people would get that into their head and start assessing Aspie for what he is. He's a 30 plus good solid defender who can get forward but nowhere near to the quality that Reece James can. Don't start assessing Aspie and comparing him with Reece James. It's ridiculous. Even if you're the ultimate cabbage, you must realise that. Just inside him, we had Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho. We know Jorginho was there because he took a penalty later on in the game. And on the left side, we had Ben Chilwell. Mount, Sterling in front of them, and just in front of them, Aubameyang. So, we kicked off. We're getting, as many of us, I think, thought we were getting overrun in midfield. Cover come on. I mean, I'll be honest, we were dire. There was too many players yesterday not playing to the best of their ability. There was too many players still being negative when they got the ball. I mean, Chile got forward a few times and crossed, and I was pleased Chile was there. But the times he checks back now, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing that last season. Before he got injured in November, he was a lot more, obviously did it occasionally, but he was a lot more offensive than that. And I'm not laying it on Chile's door. I'm just saying that we were pretty negative. Jorginho, as always, will play it backwards as opposed to playing it forwards, even when he's got a forward pass on. And we were negative. We weren't at the races. We were dire. Kovacic came on. Cucurella came off, which was 2 pluses, because Cucurella will never be. It's all right as an emergency centre-half, but it will never be a centre-half as long as I've got a hole in my bum. It's nothing to do with the fact that he's settling in, which I accept he is. You know, when he plays at left-back and he gets stick, I say, well, give him time. He's just sort of arrived. He's just getting used to the players around him, and he is. But he's not a centre-back. I don't care what qualifications these people have got. They can't tell me that he's a centre-back. He's an emergency centre-back, maybe. Maybe he has played there for Brighton. I couldn't get hold of any footage this morning. But, no. Too short. Not spatially aware enough. Not aware enough of what's going on around him. But anyway, so we had Cover on, which is always a bonus. Apparently, he didn't start the game because he's got a bit of a knee injury. Although, why that would stop Carney, was it Chakamaker from starting, Conor Gallagher from starting in that midfield? Either of those two, I think, would have benefited us if you wanted to give Cover a rest. So we're getting overrun. Cover comes on. We're better. We're still getting beat on second balls, showing no real threat to them up front. 2 shots on goal, on target in the whole game. 6 shots on goal to their 13. I mean, they had 6 on target as well, I think. But, you know, out of 13, 50%, you know, we had 2 shots on target in 90 minutes against a Manchester United team who, I have to say, although much improved, are still one of the worst Manchester United sides I can remember. That Anthony, who's got a face, by the way, who only his mum could love, scowling and all that all the time, he's got a little bit of ability, but he's like Ronaldo light. The amount of time he skipped over that ball, and if the player's watching the ball, it's going to do absolutely nothing. People give him too much space. That's why he scored in previous games. But they are a pale image compared to some of the great Manchester United sides. They were poor, but we were, fortunately for them, poorer. And I think at the end of the day, 1-1 was about right. Going to some of the incidents in the game, the penalty, yes, I thought it was a penalty. There's the thing is, though, that sort of thing goes on 5 times a game every week. Now they've either got to give a penalty every time, which they should, or they ignore it. It went for us yesterday, so I'm glad they didn't ignore it. But yeah, Brozier was being manhandled. McTominay does it every game. When you think that the Maguire foul on Aspie in games gone by for Man United, that wasn't a penalty, but that was yesterday. But gratefully received, and it gave Jorginho a chance to do something in the game. And he put his penalty away well. Well done, Jorginho. Probably validated your selection in the side. Although for the rest of the game, mate, I'm at a loss. I'm actually at a loss as to what you bring to that side. So I'm not gonna keep going on. I'm gonna score him. Kepa, I'll give him a 6. His distribution yesterday was pretty poor. There was 3 that ended up in the stands. Yeah, perhaps it's trading with Mendy. But yeah, it was pretty poor. He did produce 3 decent saves in the first half. One, as I say, Rashford, particularly good. I don't blame him for the goal. I really don't. It is what it is. If you're 6 foot tall, you can't get to the same balls as a 6'5" man. Simple as that. But you know what? For those slated him, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I thought he had a decent game. In fact, you know what? I'm going to give him a 7. I think taking away so many points just for poor distribution is too much. So I'll give him a 7. At the back, Chalobah's my Chelsea man of the match with an 8. He didn't put a foot wrong. Well, he did put a foot wrong. He made one mistake in the first half. But do you know what? As an overall 90 minutes, I thought he was absolutely excellent. Silva gets a 7. Again, kept his head at times under a lot of pressure. A couple of times he was aware enough to help out the midfield because, yeah, they were just getting hammered in there. Even when Kovacic come on, we were second best, although much improved. Cucurella gets a 4 from me. Really unfair scoring him, but while he was on, he just looks like a fish out of water at centre half. Can't remember him winning a header. Gave the ball away 3 times. One decent tackle. Yeah, I can see why they selected him to go off. In front of them, Aspie gets a 7. I thought he had a decent game. Very solid defensively, which he needed to be. And did get forward a couple of times and put a couple of balls in, but we weren't at the races offensively. In midfield, Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets a 6. He was outnumbered. He tried to do what he could. He was really our midfield until Cova come on. Jorginho gets a 5. Took his penalty well. Chile gets a 6. I don't know where this negative thing of always passing back is when you can get by their player. But I suppose if you've just seen your centre forward have the chance to score with a header, and for some bizarre reason he tries to get his right foot up as high as his head to bring it down, presumably, to then shoot, maybe you think, do you know what? I'll pass back to Jorginho, who can give it back to our goalkeeper. It's the safer option. But that's what Aubameyang did yesterday. He had a chance to shoot twice and he didn't. And then, absolute plum on his head. Lovely shot. I think it was Chile that whipped that one in. And he tried to bring it down with his foot. I'm gobsmacked. I've not often seen something like that. Where was I with the scoring? Not that it really matters, does it? We were we were pants, let's be honest about it. So Mount gets a 7, worked hard defensively, always does. And you get what it says on the tin with Mount, don't you? Sterling, for me, gets a 3. He gets a 3. He's so off form. And I'm not going to get on Sterling's back. I've seen people write on there, oh, he's shite. He's this, he's that. No, he's not. He's a very talented footballer. And on his day, on form, he's a super asset. I still think he's a great signing. But right at this minute, he's way off form. For whatever reason, I can give him the benefit of the doubt when he's bizarrely played at right wing back, but not when he's played in his position. He needs to up his game and produce an awful lot more. Aubameyang, I'll give a 4 to. Didn't get a lot of service yesterday, so that's the reason he's not got a 3. Didn't do a lot, really. And why Pulisic wasn't on for Sterling and why Brozier wasn't on for Aubameyang just after the start of the second half, maybe on the hour, and Potter waited until, what was it, the 74th minute and the 80th minute to bring them on. What's the point? What's the point? I didn't get that. It's another reason I score Potter down on this game. You got to change something. Pulisic, I'm not a great fan. I think he's weak, but the last 2 or 3 times he's come on, he's looked determined. He's looked more like the Pulisic that I did rate under Lampard. Perhaps it's because of the World Cup, but he's looked a proper footballer again. And at least he's direct. But no, they kept Sterling on, and he just did nothing. He did nothing yesterday. Aubameyang kept on, nothing. He even stopped running. He even stopped defending at one point. And then Potter goes into a press conference and said he's pleased with the work rate. Sorry, Graham, if you're genuinely pleased, and you're not just saying that for the media, I worry about you. I know you can't come on TV and say, do you know what, that lot today, they weren't at the races. Some of them haven't broke a sweat. I know you can't say that because half of us would be saying, oh, that's what Tommy Tuchel done. He lost the dressing room. But do you know what? If he'd said it, he'd be telling the truth. You get your people like your Aspies and your Chalobahs and, putting proper shift, your Mason Mount, putting proper shifts in. But that's no good if you've only got 6 out of 11 doing it. So those people blaming Kepa for yesterday, they want to have a better look at that side. So we get the penalty, and we can't see the game out. If I'd watched United's previous game, I would have started with a back 4, not had Cucurella in there and packed that midfield. But that's just me. What do I know? That's why Graham Potter gets paid the big buck. We've got to take out of it what we can, and all we can take out of that yesterday was we didn't lose. Another point, a point against a side that is improving and will give lots of sides trouble because, to be honest, I've not seen, apart from City, anyone really to worry about in that league, and that includes Arsenal. I mean, if we play like we did yesterday, Arsenal are going to beat us, but I think that was just a poor display yesterday, and I think we'll be up for that Arsenal game. Big London derby. I hope we are anyway, and I hope the team selected is one that can compete and will compete. Yeah, that's all I can say, folks. Let me know what you think. That's why I do these. I'd love to know what you lot think, and if you think I'm wrong, then fine. I don't mind that. I like to hear your views, and sometimes, as you know, some of you guys and girls that regularly contact me, I change my mind. I think I look at it again and I think, do you know what, they were right. Other times I think, no, I'll stick with what I think and respectfully disagree, which is what we should do, isn't it, really? Okay, folks, please subscribe to the channel. Please throw the video a like, and I shall speak to you in the week after our next game. Thanks for watching. Let's have that feedback. Let's have them likes. Let's have them subscriptions. Up to Chelsea.